Today is 21st of June and I've left the gym without doing anything again, as I always do. Not done anything whatsoever, just had a shower and left. And as I was leaving and as I left the gym, I was obviously getting changed. I'd been in the shower. There's shower gel, some nice shower gel, and some other like random shampoo or something like that. Put some moisturiser on that smells nice, and as I was getting changed, putting my clothes on, a random kid walked in saying it stinks in here, which is not that particular accusation, but it's a very similar situation that happens in every day of my life, whereby I'm accused of things. It's the exact same as the tap the other day, where I got accused of criminal damage on a tap or criminal damage on a toilet. I've been getting changed, just had a shower, just put some moisturiser on that smells amazing. Somebody's walked in the toilet saying, "Oh, it stinks in here," kind of thing. So obviously there was only me in there. There were only me in that changing room. So it can only apply to me. So I don't think it was me in particular. It could have been the, I believe, after leaving and walking back in, I believe what I smell is the shaker bottle that's had protein in that does stink. It really does. But the question arises to me is, in any normal walk of life, would that prompt somebody to say that's incriminating? It stinks in here when I'm the only one in there. In other words, it's a situation that could be used where it's incriminating or defamating somebody's character, where I don't believe there's really enough evidence or enough information to suggest that's really, they've got entitlement to make those, not only those accusations, but make that defamation. So whilst I'm in a gym changing room getting changed, smell amazing. All my clothes got washed yesterday, they're all fresh on yesterday. Just had a shower, loads of shower gel, brilliant shower gel, some of the best you can get. Shampooed my hair, some of the best shampoo you can get. Put deodorant on. Also put moisturiser on that smells amazing. So really, there's not much more possibly you can do to smell nice. Somebody's walked in the changing room saying it stinks in here. So it's not me as a person, I don't believe. I believe from the only thing it can be, and the only thing I believe it is, because that's the only thing it is, it's the shaker bottle that stinks. But like I've just said, the question arises as to, would that prompt somebody, that shaker bottle, would that prompt somebody to make that accusation that it stinks in here? Was that smelly shaker bottle substantial enough for somebody to make that serious transgression, or make that outright accusation, talking to themselves, walking into a changing room where I'm in the cubicle, there's only me in there saying it stinks in here, 3, potentially 4 times. So I've obviously overheard it. He's not said it directly to me in person, he's just said it out loud. It stinks in here potentially 4 times over a 2-minute period whilst using the toilet. So the question to me is, would my smelly shaker bottle be enough for this random gym goer to make those outright conscious verbal complaints, or those verbal outrages? And I've assessed it, leaving the changing room and walk back in, and yeah, I can tell straight away that there would be a possibility that somebody would speak out about it, but you don't speak to yourself and make those transgressions. So in summary, what I'm saying is, after reviewing it myself, even though I smell amazing, I've assessed it and said it could potentially be the protein shaker. And after leaving the changing room and walking back in and smelling what he could smell, do I believe that there's enough for somebody to say it stinks in here 4 times? And I've said possibly, but very unlikely. So to summarise the video, it's another situation whereby somebody's spoken out about, in a way, or spoken out or said something that can be used against me or defamate my character or incriminate me, that I don't believe would usually happen in society. It's out of character, or what I've classed as uncommon. So it's an uncommon happening based off the magnitude of smell that it is. Yeah, the shaker bottle itself does stink somewhat, and after I've left the changing room and walked back in, you can smell it, because I've just washed it out in there, no doubts. So does somebody speak out about that, or is it that problematic where somebody shouts, "Fucking hell, it stinks in here" 4 times? And I'm going to say possibly, but very unlikely. In other words, the magnitude of it, or the situation itself, the magnitude of how much it stunk had probably faded away quite a bit. And what I'm saying is, the magnitude of it and the severity of it would not have prompted somebody to speak out, "Fucking hell, it stinks in here." It was just out of character. It wasn't enough of a smell because I put it away 5 minutes ago and cleaned it out to probably suggest that anybody would speak out. It could possibly happen. I've walked in and smelled it myself. I walked in moments later and smelt it myself to have a bit of fresh air out of the room, go back in the room to have a second glance as though I'd just walked in, so it felt to me like it would to him. So the room smelt to me as it would to him, or the rose smelt to me as it would to him. I've left the room, walked back in the room, and yeah, there is definitely no doubts whatsoever that there's a remnants of the protein shaker that had been washed out. Is there enough to shout fucking hell it stinks in here? I'm going to say possibly, but very uncommon, probably not. So it's another situation whereby I'm not going to put odds on it. All I can use is the terminology and wording if possibly somebody would say that, but it'd be very uncommon. I mean, I could walk in there and I could smell it straight away and just ignore it. If I'm with a couple of people, after a bit, 5-10 minutes, I might say, what is that smell? You know what I mean? 5-10 minutes it could be known, especially if I'm using the sink. If I'm not using the sink, it might not, because there's two separate segments. So if I use that sink area and I've just washed that protein out just that moment, possibly. But I'm going to say, walking in and walking out, possibly somebody would say that, but would they say it 4 times like fucking hell, it stinks in here? I'm going to say possibly, but highly unlikely. Or potentially, I'm just going to say uncommon. For that bit, then I can't be wrong. Possibly, but uncommon. That somebody would walk into that changing room and say it stinks in here 4 times is possible, but uncommon. But the fact is, it's that one incident's uncommon. But incidents like these, like last week, it happened last week, where I got accused of criminal damage on a toilet. So last week I got accused, we know, like I've made the video about it, last week I got accused of criminal damage on a toilet that wasn't me. Would that happen usually? Possibly, but highly unlikely on that occasion. So these are events that are happening in everyday life, potentially every day, where I'm being incriminated or defamated for my character, conduct or behaviour, or in general my manifestations, or me just cleaning the protein shake out. My behaviour or my life is constantly scrutinised in society, where I'm having my power killed or incriminated or defamated. And all I can say about the majority of the occasions is, a few of the occasions possible, but uncommon for it to have happened. But for it to have all happened, which is hundreds of times, you're talking not possible. The fact is, you don't get your character all scrutinised, and you don't have your behaviour brought into question as much as what I do. I get it brought into question, like I said, once a week, twice a week. Like I said, it's only last week where I got accused of criminal damage randomly. It's only today now, a week later, where I've been accused or out blatantly, openly accused of smelling the gym toilets out. So the problem is, some of these occasions I'm not entirely innocent. Some of them I am, and it's only today that I've just had the argument with a Tesco guy for the video I made. So today, it's twice in one day where I've had my character jeopardised, where I've had an argument with a Tesco man about searching me 3 months ago, and he wanted to call the police, saying I'd been harassing him, saying I'd insulted him for asking for his badge number. So it's not just one occasion in your lifetime, or one occasion every 10 years. Today alone, it's been twice in one day, potentially more, where I've been incriminated or defamated. Just twice today, on whatever day it is, 21st of June, twice today I've had my character jeopardised, behaviour scrutinised, incriminated or degraded, or having my character defamated by one, the security guard, saying I'd insulted him by asking for his name, which is not uncommon, that's not possible, that one's illegal. That one I'm totally innocent for. And then obviously later on that night, being to the gym and somebody's making open accusations to only me in the changing room, saying it stinks in here, which is partly accepted because I just watched the protein shaker out. But is it enough to say that it stinks in here 4 times? I'm going to say probably not. Highly uncommon to happen. Possible, uncommon to happen for somebody to react like that. The way that you react to say fucking hell it stinks in here 4 times is if somebody lets off a stink bomb, one of those stink bomb things, and it's definitely not of that magnitude. It is an old protein shaker that's been rinsed out 5 minutes before, 10 minutes before, and been put away. Anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes before I've washed the protein shaker out, and it's thing, all the remnants has been washed down the sink, and the protein shaker has been sealed and put in my bag. After leaving the room and coming back in, I could still smell it like he could, but is it enough to react like that? I'm going to say no. Very uncommon for somebody to react like that unless they've got mental health issues or they're autistic or something of that nature. I'm going to say that kind of reaction is probably more likely going to be like a stink bomb or a burning tyre, which is definitely, the protein shaker wasn't of that magnitude in its prime. So after 5 minutes being washed away and being in my bag, it's definitely not of that magnitude. So like I said, these out of character happenings are running out of proportion to what the incident is, and it's incriminating people more seriously than what it is. So as I said, problems still persist. Twice in one day, and it's obviously still going on now. So yeah, I'll just leave that one there.